My name is Jessica O'Neill, and this is how food influences me. When I was growing up, I had a big family. I usually hung out with the dad side of my family. I have one older brother and 11 cousins, where two of them aren't shown here. But on my mom's side of the family, I have way too many cousins to count, and I actually couldn't find a photo, but we all couldn't fit in a photo anyway. I'm mixed raced. My mom is Filipino and my dad is Irish. And that showed me insight on different foods and different cultures at a very young age. And they kind of taught me how to never be picky. When I was growing up, if I didn't like something, my dad would just say, "You'll get nothing and like it." And growing up, I realized that if I don't eat, I'll be hungry. So I usually just ate what was in front of me, and I realized that food's pretty good. I grew up in Sacramento, California, which is in the heart of Northern California. So I got lots of fresh fruit all the time, lots of strawberries and blueberries and apples in the fall. And I always had a family dinner. Every night around 7 p.m., my family would get around the family table and we would all have dinner and we'd all talk about our days. And going out to dinner was a treat. It was usually for a special occasion or a birthday. But now that I'm in college, I realize that food is expensive. I would love to buy organic food, but I can't afford it. And I usually go to Sprouts or Smith's just because it's about a mile away from my house and I don't have a car. So that means I have to carry all this food from the store to my house, and I don't want to be carrying 20 pounds worth of food for a mile. For breakfast and lunch, on the weekdays, I usually have Quick Minute Oats, the generic brand, because it's cheaper and it keeps me filled up. Or sometimes I have cereal. But most of the time, I don't have lunch. I'm an engineering major, and all my classes are two bunched together. And because of the oatmeal, I usually stay pretty full up until about dinner time. But for the weekends, I like to treat myself. I usually wake up around noon, so it's really brunch. So I usually make myself eggs and toast or pancakes from a box. This can cost around $3 to $4, and it's relatively cheap and keeps me full as well till dinner. My nights usually consist of a crock pot dinner. I'll make this on Sunday nights. They usually last for about a week or so, and I'll have this along with the side salad. But sometimes I'll just make a big pot of soup, and this can last me to 2 weeks depending on how much I make. And I realize that soup's really cheap and really nutritious. I can put a lot of vegetables in there. I can put chicken in there to make it protein. I can do anything to a soup, and it's really cheap and really efficient. How my culture has influenced me. When my mom was growing up, her mother was the head of the kitchen and never really taught my mom any traditional Filipino dishes. My dad never really learned any traditional Irish dishes. But for holidays and vacations, we visit my family, and most of my family lives in San Diego, where we have pancit, which is a traditional Filipino dish with chicken or pork, along with a bunch of vegetables. And for St. Patrick's Day, my mom always made corned beef and hash. It was nice, but we'd only have this once a year. Growing up, I usually ate American style food, and I put that in quotations because American isn't really American. We're a country of immigrants. So most of my dinners growing up were chicken, beef, or pork as a main course with a side of rice or salad. And sometimes, my mom would put in a couple vegetables here and there. But now that I'm cooking for myself, I realize that I eat variations of the food I ate growing up. I usually do have chicken as a main dish and a salad as a side. But there's not really any restrictions on what I can and can't eat. I'm not that religious. There's nothing that tells me that I can't eat this, I can't eat that. I'm not allergic to anything, and I just kind of eat everything. The reason why food is important to me, some people might say it brings me closer to God or it brings me closer to my culture, but I don't really have those things. But it brings me closer to my family. My mom taught me how to cook, and that brought me closer to her. And also, cooking taught me about responsibility. It taught me how far a dollar could go. It taught me how to eat and how to survive if I had to. It also gave me insight on how others might eat. I realized that, especially now, it's easy to pay $100 for 2 weeks worth of food. But for a person who has 3 kids or can only live off $60 a week, I realized that they might not get a full 3-course meal all the time. It made me realize that I'm very lucky. And that is how food has influenced me in my life.